Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a topic that, let's be honest, most of us completely dread, but absolutely all of us need to understand: how to navigate a car insurance claim. We're going to use the Hartford as our guide today to make this whole thing incredibly clear. They're a super reputable provider protecting AARP members on the road for over 40 years now. We're going to break down the entire process literally from the moment of impact all the way to that final settlement check.
So, picture this. Ever had an unexpected fender bender and just felt totally lost about what to do next with your insurance? Your heart's racing, you're stuck on the side of a busy highway, and suddenly you have a dozen urgent decisions to make. It's an incredibly high-stress scenario, and feeling a massive wave of anxiety? Totally normal. But don't worry, we're here to make the claim process seamless for you. Our goal today is to turn that chaotic unknown into a structured, manageable process that you can handle with total confidence.
Here's our roadmap to resolution. We're going to cover understanding your insurance claim, immediate steps post-accident, contacting the Hartford, the claims adjuster process, some insider tips and pitfalls, and finally, FAQs and final takeaways. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Section 1, Understanding Your Insurance Claim.
So what exactly is a claim? The precise definition is actually really interesting. A car insurance claim isn't just you asking for a favor. It is a formal request by a policyholder to an insurance company for coverage or compensation for a covered loss or a policy event. This is your contractual right. When you pay your premiums every month, you are literally paying for this exact moment. Understanding that a claim is a formal, evidence-based procedure, that's step one to getting the compensation you're legally entitled to.
Now, your claim is going to fall into one of a few specific buckets. Imagine you slide on some ice and hit a neighbor's fence. Well, bodily injury and property damage liability cover repairing things like that fence. Collision insurance covers the physical damage to your actual car from a crash. Then you've got comprehensive insurance. This covers the non-collision stuff. Think wild weather damage, a falling tree branch, or, hitting a deer. And if you're unlucky enough to get hit by someone without insurance, that's where uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage steps in. Knowing which of these applies to your situation is going to dictate exactly how your whole claim proceeds.
Okay, moving to Section 2, Immediate Steps Post-Accident. Because honestly, what you do in those first 15 minutes sets the stage for everything else.
Here are your 5 absolute non-negotiables. Step 1, safety first. Check for injuries and call 911. Having a police report is just incredibly valuable later on. Step 2, if it's safe, and only if it's possible, move your vehicle to the shoulder and flip on those hazard lights. Step 3, exchange information with the other driver. You need their name, their insurance info, and their license plate number. Step 4, document the scene. Pull out your smartphone and take photos of everything: the vehicles, the roadway, the weather conditions, any visible injuries. And finally, Step 5, contact your insurer the minute everyone is safe. Why does this all matter? Because these steps preserve the basic evidentiary foundation for your entire claim.
And here is a super crucial insider tip straight from third-party legal sources. Stick to the facts at the scene and never admit fault. Seriously, even if you think you caused it. You might not know the whole story. Imagine you rear-end someone, right? But it turns out their brake lights were completely broken and they just slammed on the brakes in a moving lane. If you apologize or admit fault right there on the road, that can be used against you to reduce your compensation later. Just let the insurance adjusters and the police determine liability based on the actual evidence.
Moving right along to Section 3, Contacting the Hartford. How do we actually get this claim rolling?
The Hartford has a really well-structured intake system with 2 main pathways. If you just have a simple fender bender, physical vehicle damage only, you'll want to use their digital portals. You can go online or use their mobile app, which even supports Face ID and Touch ID to make it super quick. The whole thing takes maybe 10 minutes. However, if anyone is injured or if you're dealing with a complex multi-car pileup, the Hartford actually requires you to use their telephonic hotline so you can speak directly with an agent. Choosing the right channel right out of the gate is going to prevent a ton of administrative bottlenecks.
All right, once you've reported it, we enter Section 4, the claims adjuster process. This is when the Hartford really takes over the file.
Here's the basic chronological flow so you know exactly what to expect. After the initial claim intake, a dedicated claims adjuster gets assigned, and they'll usually reach out to you within 2 business days. They're going to investigate the vehicle and the scene. Oftentimes, they'll just send you a link to a guided photo tool so you can submit specific angles of the damage right from your own driveway. Then, they move on to the damage and injury valuation, which eventually leads directly to a settlement offer.
Now let's take a quick behind-the-scenes look at how those injuries are actually valued.
Third-party legal analysts point out that insurers, including the Hartford, often use specific software programs like one called Colossus. This software mathematically calculates bodily injury settlement amounts using over 600 specific medical injury codes to assign severity points. This right here is exactly why seeking prompt medical care and keeping meticulous, documented records of your injuries is just absolutely critical. If it is not in your medical record, the software literally cannot see it to compensate you for it.
And the magic number to keep in mind here is 7. If your vehicle is declared a total loss, which just means it costs more to fix than the car is actually worth, the Hartford will calculate its actual cash value based on things like wear and tear, mileage, and local market sales. Once you accept that offer, clean your stuff out of the car and transfer the title, it usually takes about 7 business days for them to issue that settlement check.
Knowing how all of that works leads us perfectly into Section 5, Insider Tips and Pitfalls. How do you make sure you're maximizing your outcome?
When it comes to managing your claim, there are some very clear do's and don'ts. Absolutely do keep detailed records and receipts. I'm talking about everything from the towing bill to the Uber you took to the doctor's office. Do seek prompt medical care. And do save physical evidence. Dashcam footage, even torn clothing can be super important. On the flip side, we already talked about the first don't, never admit fault to the other driver. But look at the second one. Don't settle before total medical costs are known. If you rush and accept a quick settlement and then find out you actually need physical therapy 3 months down the road, you're going to be paying for that out of pocket. Patience is totally key here. And finally, don't miss policy or legal deadlines.
Just as a quick positive aside, since we're talking about the Hartford today, data shows that AARP members who switch to them can see an average annual savings of $597. It's just a great reminder that managing your insurance isn't only about filing claims properly, it's also about making sure you have the right, cost-effective coverage in place long before an accident ever happens.
Let's move to our final section, FAQs and final takeaways. This is where we'll address a few of the most common anxieties policyholders have.
Probably the biggest fear out there is getting a claim denied. But listen, denials aren't just random. They usually happen for very specific administrative reasons. We're talking incomplete paperwork, missed legal deadlines, or maybe just a lack of sufficient medical evidence to actually prove how severe an injury is. Claims can also get denied because of unrevealed pre-existing conditions or specific policy exclusions. By knowing these pitfalls, you are completely empowered to avoid them. Just be meticulous with your paperwork.
You also have to remember that where you live completely changes the rules of the game. State laws like comparative negligence heavily impact your claim. In states like California, Texas, or Illinois, they have rules about shared fault. So if you're found to be even partially at fault for the accident, let's say you're 20% responsible because you were speeding a little bit, your final payout can actually be reduced by that exact percentage. This is exactly why you never admit fault at the scene and why preserving the evidence is so vital to protecting your wallet.
So, as we wrap things up today, I want you to ask yourself, are you fully prepared for the road ahead with your current coverage? Do you know your deductibles? Do you even know if you have rental car reimbursement or new car replacement on your policy? The absolute best time to figure out how your insurance works is today, not on the side of a busy highway right after a crash. Take 15 minutes this week to review your policy details and definitely reach out to the Hartford's customer service if you find any gaps you need to fill.
And finally, our necessary disclaimer. This explainer is for educational purposes only and does not substitute for professional, legal, or insurance advice. Policies and state laws can vary wildly, so please always confirm all of your specific coverage details and claim procedures with the Hartford directly. Stay safe out there on the roads, keep this knowledge in your back pocket, and thank you so much for learning with us today.